This man never in a million years expected that after fighting for the kingdom for a solid 20 years, the king would turn around and send him off to govern some barren stretch of grassland as its lord. This was Leo's first time serving as a lord. He'd planned on protecting the people of his domain, but after wandering the grasslands for days on end, there wasn't a resident in sight. He couldn't even find a single tree. Leo was completely at a loss, so he decided to get some sleep and head to a nearby village the next morning to lend a hand. But things didn't go as planned. Early the next morning, he was jolted awake by a young girl who demanded to know why he had set foot on this grassland. Leo explained that the king had sent him here to live. At first, the girl didn't believe a word of it, but then the horns on her head suddenly lit up with a glow. It turned out this was a form of magic unique to the Oni tribe. Red signified danger. Colorless meant no hostility. And as for the blue glow that had just appeared, it marked someone destined to bring them happiness and blessings. Emma had never seen a glow burn that bright before, so she brought Leo back to the tribe. Before long, Leo was standing before the tribe's chief. Through their conversation, Leo learned that the Oni tribe had once been enemies of the kingdom, waging war against it for years in a battle over ownership of this very grassland. But 50 years ago, the Oni tribe was defeated and forced to leave. Leo was puzzled if they'd fled. How were they still living here? The chief explained that the horns on their foreheads allowed them to use all kinds of magic, one of which was concealment magic. This power could hide the entire village from sight, which was exactly why Leo hadn't spotted a single soul on his first day. Beyond concealment magic, the most commonly used ability was soul reading magic, which could tell friend from foe at a glance. Leo showed the exceptionally rare blue glow, marking him as someone well worth befriending. So the tribe was willing to help Leo establish himself as lord of this land, and would provide him with a place to live and food to eat. But in exchange, Leo was not to breathe a word about this village to anyone. Leo agreed. The chief was very pleased to hear this and assigned Emma to look after Leo's daily needs so he could get used to life on the grassland as quickly as possible. Emma was none too happy about that, but the chief held firm. Whoever brought someone and had to see things through to the end. Before he knew it, the next day had rolled around. Leo's yurt had been set up and put together, and he was grateful to everyone who had pitched in. But the rest of the Oni tribe wasn't exactly warming up to him and cleared out the moment the work was done. As for Emma, she gave Leo a half-hearted rundown on survival skills. The main source of income here came from raising sheep, but it was a slow way to make money. If you wanted to earn faster, you had to go hunting. The trick was a special powder, scatter it around and it would draw wild beasts right to you. Then you'd bring the meat and hides back to the village and trade them for more yurts. Leo wasted no time and headed out immediately, because Emma had been so careless with her explanation and hadn't gone into any specifics. Leo went ahead and dumped the entire packet of powder at once. Before long, he found dozens of yaks charging straight at him. A short while later, Leo had taken down quite a few, but had no idea how to haul them all back. He could only heave one onto his back and head back to the yurt. He figured coming back with so little would get him laughed at by Emma, but to his surprise, she was completely blown away. She couldn't believe Leo was actually this capable. Taking down a yak on his very first hunt? She told him he was seriously impressive. Leo then mentioned he'd taken down around 30 in total but had no way to bring them all back. Emma was absolutely floored, and this time she told him he was a real man. Emma immediately rallied the villagers to go collect all the black yaks Leo had hunted down. Now, for the Oni tribe, calling a man manly was their way of saying they had feelings for him. The chief asked Leo whether he had any intention of marrying Emma, though if he did, the bride price would be on the higher side. Leo quickly set the record straight. There was a total misunderstanding, and he hadn't thought about anything like that at all. But the chief brushed it off. Different races could still have children together just fine. Before long, the second morning had arrived, and Emma's attitude was a complete 180 from before. Not only had she made breakfast for Leo, she also volunteered to go hunting with him. Just then, the other villagers showed up with the yak meat from the day before. Now that they'd seen what Leo was capable of, they'd come around to accepting him, but the moment they saw Emma getting so cozy with him, they shot him looks that could kill. Emma then led Leo out to the hunting grounds. She happened to be skilled at tracking magical creatures, and of course, if they ran into something too tough to handle, she'd use her concealment magic to get them both out of there. Following the magical trail, the two of them tracked down an earth dragon. The moment Emma laid eyes on it, she chickened out and was ready to bolt with Leo in tow, but Leo just thought it looked like some kind of giant turtle. Leo grabbed his axe and charged straight at it. He started by hacking at its back, but found it was way too tough to dent, so he switched to targeting its limbs. The earth dragon instantly pulled all four legs into its shell. Emma, watching from the sidelines, thought Leo was being completely reckless, but backing down simply wasn't in Leo's vocabulary. That was just how he fought. He was going to keep hammering away until that shell cracked open. Leo pounded at it for a full 2 minutes, but the earth dragon couldn't be bothered to come out. With each repeated strike, His axe began to show signs of damage. He quietly muttered repair, and the next second, the cracks sealed themselves right back up. This was a battle trophy he'd won after taking down a general from a neighboring country, and word had it the man was quite a big deal. Leo went on hammering from daylight all the way into the night, and still the earth dragon refused to budge from its shell. Emma, meanwhile, could barely keep her eyes open. Leo was worried she might catch a cold from the night chill, so he decided to give it one last swing before taking Emma home. And that one swing was all it took. He shattered the earth dragon's thick shell clean open. The moment its shell cracked, the dragon flew into a rage and launched a ferocious counterattack. Fortunately, Leo's reflexes were sharp enough to dodge, but Emma, standing nearby, took a direct hit from the dragon's breath attack. Her cry of pain immediately drew the dragon's attention, and it locked onto Emma as its next target. That was the last straw for Leo.
どんな敵が相手でも私があなたをあらあら